everyone. Thank you for coming today. We're very excited to unveil our latest project here. Special thanks to Art of Espresso for letting us use their space and also providing some light refreshments. Our first speaker today is going to be Dr. Pezzoli, who is the Director of the Urban Studies and Planning Department as well as the Communication Department, and he also leads the Bioregional Center for Sustainability Planning and Design. Followed by him, we're going to have Professor Brett Staulbaum from the Visual Arts, ICAM, and Speculative Design Department. And then followed by him, we'll have Zack Osborn, a Student Engagement Specialist for the Bioregional Center. And then our headline speaker will be Mr. Nguyen, who is a third-year Speculative Design major with an emphasis in urban ecology and minoring in entrepreneurship and innovation. Now, please welcome to the stage Dr. Pezzoli.
There are so many levels of beauty to this, I don't know where to begin. And I've only got like 3 or 4 minutes. So I'm going to elevate 3 points that really stand out in my mind. And one is localization, another is convergence, and the third is democracy. The localization thing here is this represents a beautiful example of localizing our food system, because the one we currently have globalized is not working very well. 60% more food is going to need to be produced by 2050 under conditions that are stressed. So innovation like this that brings the food growing capacity into our urban areas and gets people understanding food systems and how we got to do things differently is so important, right? So that's the localization. A lot of attention being paid to that right now. The second thing I mentioned is convergence. So what you see here is going to evolve into a system of plug and play. So I was talking with Hung just before this started, and the idea here is to enable students to do collaborative research across disciplines. So you get the visual artists working with the planners and the engineers to figure out how to produce more food more efficiently in ways that break down the silos in how we otherwise, produce knowledge on the campus. The third thing I'll mention is democracy, because one of the things that really strikes me as really urgent, and that this is sort of emblematic of, is the democratization of science and technology. Because right now we've got a broken system there as well. And with the food system, food democracy and how we are able to intervene in that system is completely beyond us. And the role that science plays in elevating and improving that is totally beyond us. So thanks to student leaders like Hung and Zack Osborn, well, he's grown up now and he's staff and professional, but the student workers involved in these projects actually playing an important role in activating a democratization of science and technology, because they've actually managed to get this installation embedded into the DNA of this institution, which is a science institution. And we refer to this as the rooted university transition. That is to say, let's get our great research institution more embedded in its own region and develop solutions-oriented problem-solving work like this that in effect is democratizing science and technology. Because though be it they're doing this work here, they're also in Rogers Garden, Rogers Urban Farmlab, and thanks to Chris Johnson, other growing spaces all around campus, that work and the innovation and learning, the science and the learning that's being done there by the students is intentionally brought out into the region, into places in Southeast San Diego where we're growing a food forest and community garden. We'll want to replicate this in the neighborhoods, in disadvantaged food desert neighborhoods, and so forth and so on. So there you go. There's just 3 points. The localizing food systems, the convergence research, coupling human and natural systems by bringing disciplines together, and democratizing science and technology. My hat goes off to the young leaders doing this, and more power to you.
Hi, I'm Brett Staulbaum, and I was invited today. First, the most important thing is really to congratulate Hung and Zachary and Keith on the success of this I'm really, really pleased to be here to support our students, and Hung has been one of the most engaged students in the speculative design program. So I'm really, really happy to be here. I was asked to speak a little bit to how this might be thought of as art, or how this fits into art histories. And in fact, the history of gardening and art is as old as the history of painting and art, and the history of music, in many senses, going from all the earliest phases of human agricultural development, the small-scale non-industrial peoples that began to switch over to agricultural modes of production, did absolutely appreciate the beauty of their gardens and of their agriculture, and it became a part of later their iconography and representation. Very important parts of archaeological history. In fact, also includes the aesthetics of agriculture. Moving a little bit further on to a longer period of history pre-democracy, when basically the local government was a warlord. Now we would call them kings and queens, but they were warlords. These warlords, like the Medici family in Italy, they very famously supported, as patrons, music and painting. A lot of Renaissance art history focuses on these things, but they also supported gardeners and landscapers. And so the very brief case that I'm making here is that throughout the history of arts, the way that we might think of them in European art history as Baroque, classical, romantic, modern, there have always been gardeners and gardens that followed those forms. So there are classical gardens and romantic gardens and different style gardens, and actually a great deal of scholarship on these histories from an aesthetic perspective in the history of arts. So the question is, how can we maybe think about this organization of this kind of gesture today, and how does it work culturally and visually? Dr. Pezzoli made a really good point about starting with democracy here, right? Democracy and the importance of planning and envisioning a new kind of world that we can live in. This is really part of the genesis of the speculative design major in the visual arts department. Speculative designers are designers who are thinking about the near future and what the future might be like, and they take urban planning and economics and a wide variety of other classes in addition to visual arts classes, because designers need to be part of the social and cultural forms of governance that exist today. And so one of the really valuable aspects, I think, of this entire enterprise is that going through the process of working with the campus to realize something like this, right? Working with the authorities to realize something that's a kind of vision. And then finally, one of the things that we do talk about a lot in the visual arts as kind of more recent aesthetics are the aesthetics of kinds of community-based activities. Sometimes we'll talk about this in terms of relational aesthetics, where the activity of the artist is not only a representational activity, but indeed a process that's embedded within a community to help realize something. So this is really a very good example of relational aesthetics. One of our own faculty has a slightly different model for thinking about this. Grant Kester, an art historian, who came up with, wrote a book about related issues, and he would call this a conversation piece. This is something that people will walk past and think about. Not just people that are thinking about aesthetics and art, but also people that are thinking about their backyard, right? And developing ambitions as hobbyists and urban gardeners. And this presents some ideas that enter into the conversation about how we might do things, in the near future. So, I think that's how we should be sort of thinking in a longer historical throw about this. And the relational aesthetics really is a kind of aesthetics of democracy and community. So that's how I would situate this work. Again, super congratulations. It's wonderful to be here with Keith and Zack. And unfortunately, I have another meeting at 1 o'clock. I'm going to have to run away just about 15 minutes of 1 o'clock. But I look forward to meeting some of you today as well. Thank you.
All right.
Hello everyone, thank you so much for being here today. This truly is an amazing system. But what makes the system so amazing is really not the system itself. It really is the fact that it took faculty, staff, and most importantly, a student to really bring it all together, get it up here, get it running, and at no direct cost to the university and without the need of third-party contractors as well. That's a very crucial and important part. And this is just the first step to hopefully many more like it in the future. So, if this university here, UCSD, is truly meant to be its own small city, if it really wants to be this destination campus for the community, both near and far, to come here and learn and purchase and see all the cool stuff that we have going on here, we really need to be looking within our own community first and foremost to really find these solutions to all these sustainability goals that we're sort of creating for ourselves. And when I say sustainability goals, I'm talking about food waste, renewable energy, food, urban agriculture production. All of these are things that the students could be at the forefront of helping to find solutions for and to be making real headway towards. So, let's see if that jet flies over maybe a little more. Alright, so a lot of the things that we hear at the university is the word sustainability. Sustainability can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. A lot of the times though, we kind of have this black and white interpretation of it, whereas, oh, if it's sustainable, it must be good for the environment. Well, there's a lot of diversity within the word of sustainability. It can mean not only environment, but it can also mean social and economic sustainability as well. And one of the highlights of this system is that it hits each and every one of those points. There's good social change happening from this. There's good economic responsibility coming from this. And on top of it, we are doing a lot of great environmental sustainability to go along with it as well. And so we really, if we're going to be at the best university, we're really going to try to think about how these solutions can be engineered and sort of proliferating out into the masses. We really have to hit all those different points because not everyone comes from the background that we UCSD people have. You know, we have wonderful weather, wonderful time, and wonderful funding in order to get a lot of projects like these going. And so we need to think of a way to sort of translate it and make it more bite-sized and encourage the outside community to start to implement things like this as well. And so I'm going to sort of end with this nice little quip I got from Michelangelo, because I really think it does sort of speak to Hung and to many other potential students at this university. And Michelangelo would always say that he didn't actually sculpt. He said that the statue that he was carving from the rock was already there inside of the rock itself, and that all he did was build scaffolding and blow away the unnecessary pieces in order to show the true beauty that lied within. And that is every single student, that is Hung. They are all diamonds in the roughs and beautiful sculptures just waiting to have a little bit of scaffolding, a little bit of guidance, and just a little bit of faith in order to bring their ideas and their passions into actual, tangible, pragmatically feasible, useful, all these great words for the greater community, and UCSD is really just the start of it. And so I look really forward to what other projects like these will come forth. I look forward to seeing what Hung will do, and I look forward to seeing all the produce that will be coming off this nice little wall here for hopefully years to come. And I look for many more iterations like this all over campus, all tailor-made to the unique aesthetic requirements of the spaces they're in. I don't want just a random plug and play, stick it anywhere system. I want something that is truly a meaningful change to the environment around it, and really to the environment and to the community that is around it as well. So thank you all so much for coming today. I really look forward to seeing how this progresses. Thank you.
I just want to say one word about it. I asked Hung to present at a table that we just did at an urban expo. We filled the Price Center ballroom. So I just want to acknowledge one of the special ingredients is to have a scientist who's also got a good public face, who's able to project into the community, be it tabling or a crazy event like this. And the other thing, to have the support of the Sustainability Resource Center and Jennifer, and a supportive environment in the background with that part is really, really great.
This is Dr. Pezzoli. Well, everyone's speech was amazing. How will I beat it? Let's see. Our community food wall project addresses two issues in which high-density urban area faces: food security, the inability to have access to healthy local food, and environmental campus sustainability. It's the relationship that we have to our campus involving public space or academic institution. We will tackle these two issues, food security and environmental sustainability campus, on three levels: on the culture, the technical, and the business aspect. On the culture, we created a public art piece that can produce food. Thus, we are promoting a new way to think about public space usage. We are rewiring the traditional concept of art and public space and incorporating them as one to create a more humane, user-friendly, interactive public space. And in doing that, we can reestablish our culture as more as an engaging, enriching research and a more public community. On the technical level, by implementing a small vertical system at a public space like Art of Espresso, we are creating a platform for multidisciplinary collaboration to provide students valuable work and research experience. We're bringing together many majors from computer science, visual art, urban planners, business, and we could bring many more to our endeavors, this mission of ours to create a food system in order to create a food system on campus for everyone. On the business level, by establishing future relationship with basic student resource centers like like the Hub and the Food Pantry, and commercial vendors such as Art of Espresso, we're growing fresh and healthy produce for the UC Espresso. We're taking a step further by incorporating social entrepreneurship as it. We will create a closed loop system, a closed loop business system that could donate half our produce to the Food Pantry and the Hub to use for the operation for food security, and the other half can be used to make profit to create a self-sustainable on a technical level and a business model. I did not start this project for merits or resume. I'm here to motivate my fellow peers, my colleagues, my professors, and future generations to reflect on the relationship with their community and take action to improve as an individual and the community. Thank you. I have the second part as well. I'm going to do the closing remarks. From the very beginning, when I got accepted to UCSD, I always wanted to build something to help. I want to build something on the UCSD main campus to help someone, but I didn't know how to achieve it. Yes, it's still funny how I reflect myself, put as undeclared as the engineering department, got to the spec design, and got to the entrepreneur minor. That's why all this success of this project, this mission of ours, to many, to ZipGrow, to resource management and campus planning, to TGIF, Indian Sustainable Council, the Hub, the Food Pantry, the Art of Espresso, Zack Osborn, Tanaka, Zack, Dr. Pezzoli, Professor Staulbaum, Wayne Fung, and many who can make it and who I forgot to mention. This community food wall may be built today at Mandeville, but it could be implemented anywhere from inside Mandeville to your home. I would like to thank everyone for coming here for listening to this public event. I truly hope that with this step we can truly create a better future for our society and the world, and as an individual. Thank you. Time for the ribbon cutting. This is my early individual senior project. This is not the end of my university career. There are many more I can do, and many more that we can do. So go forth, seek more, change the world, influence everyone, and please remember everyone who helped you on the path. Even though I came here by myself from my high school, I owe the success to many who I network, made friends. Thank you. Now, to a new word.